Yo, welcome back to another episode of Texas Underground. I am your host, JVaz, and as always, the show is brought to you by La Conecta. Make sure you guys check them out at shoplaconecta.com. You can see we got stickers, we got air fresheners, we got the Mama Lona that could. This book's been going around Twitter, so make sure you guys check that out. We got the hats as well, the rolling trays, and all kinds of cool stuff. The cut energy drink, para que andes al 100. So make sure you guys check them out at shoplaconecta.com. The show is also brought to you by GT Digital Distribution. If you're an independent artist looking to take your music to the next level, make sure you guys check them out at www.gtdigitaldistribution.com. Joining us today, man, this is going to be a dope episode. Not just saying this, because after we get done with this, I want to pitch something to you. But I've been looking forward to this episode, man, because I feel like we can make very good conversations on some of these topics. As somebody that's, you're pretty involved in everything that's going on with the Hispanic culture here in Houston. And we'll get more into that here in a second. You might have seen him at every fucking show you pull up to. This guy shows up and he got a gang of motherfuckers wearing his shirts. You know what I'm saying? David from the Damn Mexicans. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate that. It's been a long time coming. It seems like, but yeah, it's always good to collab and sit down and have these conversations, because I think for the culture, it's a great thing. It can be a positive thing. So yeah, I've been looking forward to it. So
yeah, man. The collab is, sometimes the collabs are needed, just because not just for the viewers, but for myself. I like sitting down with people that have the love for music or the love for the culture, and if not more than I do, just because it's cool to, refreshing to get different ideas and whatnot. Sure. So it's something that I always look forward to. But let's jump right into it, bro. Them Damn Mexicans. When I first saw that, ironically enough, it wasn't a Mexican guy wearing the shirt.
Wow.
And then I know it was Bernie. It was Bernie. Yeah, shouts out to Bernie. But and then I was like, what is this? What is this brand? So talk to us about the brand, the Damn Mexicans, and where the idea come from.
So the idea originally stemmed from it was an artist that I wanted to work with named Big Jerb, R.I.P. to Big Jerb.
Oh, R.I.P. Big Jerb.
Yeah, R.I.P. Big Jerb. I remember reaching out to him on MySpace, and I was like, yo, this guy's dope. He's a little bit younger than I was. My sister knew him. Yeah. And I was like, this guy? She's like, yeah, he's real cool. And I'm like, man, I'm listening to the music. I'm like, man, he's jamming. So I reached out like, yo, let's work together. I've always had a love for the music, and I always wanted to kind of be in it, but behind the scenes. I never tried to rap or sing or none of that. And don't ask me to, because I won't. Freestyle session. So when I reached out to him, he's like, yeah, let's do it. I remember us having a couple of meetings. I said, you know what? I'm gonna start a management company, and I got to figure out a name for my management company. And one day at my apartment, man, I remember hearing a white woman's voice saying, "Them damn shout out to Kika can do it really good. Like, them damn Mexicans, like there goes them damn Mexicans." So I was like, "Damn, I like that name." And so I told him, I called him and said, "Hey, bro, like I think I'm gonna call it them damn Mexicans." He laughed. He says, "I got you." And he's created the logo that you see.
Big Jerb did that.
Big Jerb did this logo.
That's dope.
Yeah. So, and it just really just took off from there. I mean, we after he and I went our separate ways, he ended up starting Hungry Records with Spectacular. Shout out to Spic and Surreal. Started that with them, and he went on his own, man. He just really took off after that, which it was good to see. And unfortunately, his passing came. It was like, damn. But then we had a group. It was like 3 guys that was rapping. We were booking them shows between here and San Antonio, and I think we might have went a good year on a good run 1 year with all of that, and then it just. I did nothing with it. Like I've had the name for 14 years.
That's crazy.
And it was 3 years ago where I quit my job and I sunk money into it by having merchandise.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just make some shirts, and sold. Florida, Cali, Chicago. They're everywhere. Everybody wanted one, and I was like, damn, I got something, And people were telling me it's the logo. It just stands out. It pops,
does.
And then not only that, but we're also representing, our culture and our raza, or at least we're trying to, as best as possible. So, and then now here we are, man. Like we got events, a talk show. The clothing line brand has expanded. Pretty soon we'll be venturing into film. It's just keeping the
Dope.
yeah.
Fun fact. this is cool to hear about Big Jerb because I worked with Big Jerb in 2004. I have a song with Big Jerb.
Really?
Yeah. And it's crazy because this whole time, you know, I maybe heard his name, maybe like from 2 other people. Mm-hmm. And you know, and then you see like the fans, you know, how they consider him. You're like, man, Jerb was a Houston legend type shit.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I've never had a conversation with anybody else that knew Big Jerb. So this is cool because I worked with Big Jerb. We did a song together in 2004, 2005.
That's crazy because when I did the Road Dogs episode, shout out to Rolly and Ashley. When I did theirs, I didn't know that he had booked Jerb for a show that he did at East Warehouse or something like that. Yeah. Back in I remember the venue because I remember they would do a lot of shows there. It was one of those venues where like all the artists would, you know, do events there. So always when I bring him up, and in our bio, the hashtag RIP Big Jerb is in there.
Yeah.
So we always try to kind of keep that name alive somehow because I mean, you know, he was around from the beginning. He created the logo, so it's like it's only right to pay homage, you know, in that respect. And another little fun fact or insight thing is I'm gonna be working with Spectacular on the Big Jerb documentary.
It's dope.
So yeah, so we'll be looking for that coming soon.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah, Big Jerb always show love.
Yeah.
He was one of the first features on the project at the time that I was working on, and you know, like 3 years later or whatever, 4 years later, I ran into him again, and was still showing love. Mm-hmm. And then you got the news that he had passed away, and it was like, damn. Mm-hmm. But yeah, shouts out to Big Jerb and RIP to Big Jerb.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you were from the north side of Houston.
Yeah. North Central to be exact.
North Central to be exact. What was that like growing up out here in Houston, man? I'm not from Houston, so I just want to get the inside of what was it like growing up for you.
So growing up there, man, it was cool, but the gangs started taking over in the early mid '90s. The gang culture came. You know, we had it's crazy because I was just telling my mom this story the other day about how all my homeboys was in gangs, but I was never forced to join one because I was cool with everybody. I was just like the guy that knew everybody. But man, we were all friends before the gangs, and to see them all now beefing was crazy to me. I'm like, man, we were just playing baseball together last year. Now, now it's this, and it's unfortunate, man. But but growing up, it really taught us a lot about the streets and just being street smart and not being, But it was definitely, it made me who I am, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong. I got in my fair share of trouble, and I had my fights. I had my, it was never gang related, of course. But yeah, I think when you're in the hood, it's almost a certainty that you're going to get in some kind of trouble in some kind of way. But those are some of my fondest memories. Like, I'm still really good friends with a lot of those people. 2 of my closest homeboys, are actually still in prison, man, and they're doing life, and so it's a testament to. Sometimes people from the hood look at me and be like, and I've gotten those texts where like, damn, bro, you made it, bro, like, like, man, I'm just surviving, but to some that's enough because a lot of them didn't get to make it.
Comparison to them,
because some, are gone or in prison or not really doing anything, and it's sad, but it's that's a life.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's kind of you become a victim of your whatchamacallit,
of your circumstances, product of your environment. Yeah.
Product of your environment. So you mentioned 14 years ago when this logo came about, you were already wanting to get involved with music, behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about your love for the music and for the culture, bro, because 14 years is a long time. And I just said this before we started recording. Yeah. In order to have love for this shit for that long, just talk to us about how that came about, your love for music, for hip-hop in general, and for wanting to represent your culture.
I think as most people will admit and say the same thing as far as the love for music is therapeutic, whatever it might be. So growing up in the 90s, early to mid-90s, I remember growing up listening to A Tribe Called Quest, Kid Frost, Lighter Shade of Brown, people like that, way back, MC Light, even MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice, people like that. That was Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince was a big influence. I love their music because they were Will Smith was a storyteller. He was a character. but but one of the first times that I actually just fell in love with the music was NWA. I heard Boys in the Hood. I was in 5th grade. And I remember like, yo, that's dope. Because it talked about the street shit, what I was seeing in our neighborhoods, with the gangs and shit. I was like, damn, not realizing that we were mimicking what was going on in LA and Compton on the West Coast, the gang culture out there. But I was like, damn, this is the stuff that I'm seeing, and then as I, as the love for music grew, of course, Tejano. I always say this. I think those of us that grew up in the 90s, we had the best of music of everything, whether it was Tejano, whether it was rock, the reggae, hip hop, R&B, you had it all, and it was the best of it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I know some of the newer younger people like
that's
some old head shit. You talking like, nah, man, I'm just just facts to me, because a lot of that music is still to this day a lot better than what's out there now. It's just timeless. So the love's always been there, man. Growing up listening to Los Bukis, I mean, Ramon Ayala, Selena, of course, just so many influences. When it comes to music, I'm a well-rounded person. I go from gospel to, I was just having that conversation this morning with someone. I went from Chris Tomlin, and then next song was like DMX. I have my music on shuffle, so 1 minute I'm praising God, and the next minute I'm growling, But nah, it's just, I can jam anything, man. I love music, and that's what kind of keeps me going. That's why I have so much love for the underground and the people that are, because there's a lot of talent. They just need the platform to be seen, that opportunity. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people with a lot of talent that just throw it away.
Yeah.
So yeah, the love for music, man, forever. To the day I die, I'll probably be listening to music.
Play some music when I die.
Hey, play me some music.
Yeah. As far as TDM, what's the main focus of TDM, and what's the end goal? Like, what's the purpose of TDM?
So the main goal behind TDM is to shed light on brown people, just whether it's brown artists, brown businesses, brown anything, entertainment, whatever we're doing, it's creating our own avenue for something. I always said that. That's why we started Embrace the Culture, the event, is to give businesses, small businesses, brown businesses, an opportunity. Also, artists that don't necessarily have a stage to perform on, or don't have the money to pay the excessive, fees, whatever it costs to perform on the bigger stages. It's like, nah, you can come perform here. And I even encourage them, man, have merchandise so that you can sell it. Because if I can't pay you, you can at least come make some money, by selling your merch. Yeah. So yeah, I just try to provide opportunities for our brown culture, for our brown people. Like, we too can be business owners. We too can be record label execs. That's why I love what you got going on, and your situation with Gold Toes. Like, that's dope. Like, what Gold Toes does, like, that's dope. Like, I look up to that. Like, to me, that's goals. Like, I want to, I want to be there. I want to be there someday, and not even as competition. I just want to be a part of it. As like even if it is a competition, to me, it's all, hey man, there's enough money right here for everybody.
Yeah.
And if we can all win, why not?
I think sometimes, don't mean to cut you off, but I think competition is good.
Yeah.
As long as it's not in a negative way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because competition makes you better.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I look at everybody as competition, not in a way of, I can't wait to shit on them, but in the way of, let me check out your podcast. What are you doing that I could implement into mine? Mm-hmm. What are you doing that's better than mine, so that I can, step my level of
all I do is watch podcasts. I've been watching yours. I was just watching the one with Sambo last night, which was dope, by the way.
Appreciate it. Shout out to Sambo.
Shout out to Sambo, man. We've been trying to get something going on with him too. And we will eventually lock in. But I look at everybody's stuff, man, because you've been doing this a lot longer. So I know me just jumping into it, at the beginning of the year, people ask me, well, what made you want to start? I just wanted to do it, man. I just wanted to create another avenue that can maybe fill in a gap that others aren't doing, But, I see a lot of the same people doing both shows and other people's, and that's cool. Like, again, it's not in a malicious way. Like, I see you dropping, I'm like, damn, now I gotta get in the studio. I gotta book some more.
It pushes you,
Like, I want to let's compete, man. Hey, that's good. Like, hey, you get your views. That's another reason why I'm glad that I'm able to come here, because now people that know me or TDM Talk, now they know your platform if they didn't already know.
Yeah.
And vice versa. The people that watch your show, which is, I always see, man, you get a lot of, traffic on TikTok, on the YouTube. Now they're going to know what them Mexicans does too. Now they're going to be more prone to go watch, man, let me go see what he's doing,
See.
It's like,
see what TDM got going on.
Yeah, see what TDM got going
on.
Yeah.
Speaking of TDM, let's talk about TDM Talk right quick.
Yeah.
You mentioned you started TDM Talk in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And then you took a break from that. And you're back on it now. Mm-hmm. But talk to us about, what was the initial purpose of TDM at the beginning? What happened with the break? And then, what you got going on with it now?
So when we started, it was myself, Adrian Angelo, Angie, and Mexican Connected. And we were having great conversations, and this really started off Clubhouse on the app. We used to get on Clubhouse, and kind of every Monday we have a TDM room, and we got up to 100 and something people that would tap in. Every
I would
Monday.
actually go in there every now and then.
Yeah. Okay. And it was a lot of people that used to go in there, man, and kind of tap into what we were doing. That's how I met. That's how I started rocking with Pura Cultura. Shout out to them, man. I actually ended up going out there with them in Minnesota. But anyway, and I had been and shout out to my bro, Zach, man. Zach always would be like, bro, you've been saying you wanted to do a talk show. I was actually inspired by Vlad TV. Like initially it was supposed to be that style, like behind camera, all focused on the artist or whoever you were interviewing. And it was actually going to be Zach doing the interviewing, and it just took a whole nother turn, and it turned into a whole nother thing. And we went strong, man. For the 3 months that we were going, like we were live, of course. It was dope. Like I thought we were, on to something big, and I still think that way. And obviously, what caused the break was the fact that one of the persons was removed from the talk show, and then the other two just quit. Although we talked about relocating and kind of like getting better as far as the production, what we were getting, the cameras, the microphones, and kind of upgrading on what was better. But I do know I had talked about, man, let's just give it to the end of April, because I had already paid the April's month. So I'm like, let's at least get this out the way. And they chose to leave, prematurely. And then it kind of left me like, damn, so I just was like, I had to sit back, reevaluate, reassess, re-strategize, and just kind of like, okay, and then we started back up not too much later, man. I was working with Trap Visions, and we did, I want to say about 6 episodes, and I didn't get none of the footage, man. So I don't, where's my footage at? But damn it. I don't have none of the footage, but I was able to save the audio. I recorded off my phone and I uploaded. It's on Spotify and Apple and all streaming services now, but so I was able to at least have that. But I was like, this ain't gonna work either. I got to figure out another avenue. And then shout out to DFD Baby Lee. He introduced me to Gabriel, and then that's where we had pretty much been doing the last 8-9 episodes that we've done at his studio. So, and that was just me, So
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So when I started podcasting, it was audio only. We didn't have no video. And we didn't do music interviews. It was more of everyday topics. I like to bullshit.
Yeah.
So my idea was, let's take everyday topics from Twitter and have that conversation. Okay. And it was 3 of us, right? It was two of my other homeboys. We were doing great.
Yeah.
Like my man, whenever my memory pops up on Facebook, I'm gonna screenshot and I'm gonna send it to you.
All right.
We were top 20 on Apple. We were top 80 something on Spotify. Yeah. But then my dumbass, and I say this because my other 2 homeboys were like, nah, we shouldn't change. We keep going the way it's going. Yeah. I was like, we should start interviewing artists, because I know a lot of artists. I've been involved in music since I was... So we decided to go that route. And I love this shit now, but when I'm telling you, I had to start from the beginning, and there was no love being shown. It was tough. And then they decided to leave because, whatever they had going on. And then having to do it by myself, it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And shouts out to my ex-girlfriend. She was my girl at the time. I remember I told her, I was like, I'm done podcasting. Mm-hmm. And she's like, why? I said, well, Ricky left, Mr. Lucky, he said he's not doing it. And then she looked at me and she's like, well, good thing it's not called the JVaz and Mr. Lucky show, ain't it? Mm-hmm. And I was like, What do you mean? She's like, it's the JVaz show, so you don't need them. If they don't want to do it, that's cool. But it's the JVaz show. It's not. I was like, man, you're right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Show right. Shouts out to my ex, man. She cool people. But
sometimes you need somebody to give it to you straight.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And she did. So I bring that up to ask you, what has that transition been like from when you were working with 3 other people? Things didn't work out for whatever reason or whatever, but you transitioned to yourself now. But what has that been like for the show and for yourself as far as preparation and whatnot?
I'm honestly going to tell you the honest to God truth. And this is something that I relayed to them since the beginning. Whenever a situation came up where they wanted to go a certain direction with the show, and I wasn't, like, I'm not feeling that. I don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, as a person that's pretty much putting up the money, it's under my brand, it's under my name, I had the trump card. You know, okay, we're not going to do that, right? So I would always say this, hey, I was going to do this by myself, so don't think like it's a I need you type of thing. They were invited as because I thought it was a good look.
Yeah.
You know, all great talkers, you know, everybody had their own separate movements, you know, their own things that were going on. So I thought if we came together collectively, that it would be, you know, a much bigger thing. And to a certain extent, it did get there. But in the back of my mind, I was always like, yeah, this is still my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I have to do it by myself, I would do it by myself. And so the transition was not that difficult, but the only difficulty was going from live to the editing part because you know I don't do editing. I don't know how to do any of this, which I need to learn because
it's not that hard.
You know, I'm paying hardcore a ton of money. You know, like I'm coming out of pocket too much. You know, and he does a great job, man. So I can't really complain. But with the many hats that I hold and do, you know, it makes it hard to also try to do that too. It's like, damn, it's. But, you know, if I get to learn how to do that, then it might be a little different.
Yeah.
But, you know, the transition wasn't too bad. At first, though, it was the being like, okay, now you got to – it's just you and that person. Now you got to carry – as where before, you know, they can ask questions. You know, okay, well, you got a question? Yeah, go ahead. You know, and then you can sit back and kind of take a back seat to it. You know, and now it's like, no, it's on you. Like, you know, it ain't no conversation going on. That's really on you. You got to keep that going because – I've interviewed some people that were just boring, you know, and I'm just like, damn, bro, like no matter what I'm saying, you're not getting them to speak. Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, you're right, you know, and it's like, yeah, but what a, you know, like say you can say more, bro.
Say more, bro. Let me take this time to say something. A lot of people hit me up for interviews, and it's cool. I want to be able to get as many people as I want, as much people as I can on here.
Yeah.
But before you hit anybody up to do an interview, make sure you have something to talk about.
Thank you.
Make sure you have a project that you're working on. Make sure that you have an event coming up, something to talk about. A lot of people, I understand you're an artist and you want to be seen on a podcast, you want to be seen or whatever. But if you have nothing to talk about, it's kind of like going to an interview and kind of ruining your interview chances of getting hired.
Yeah.
Because if the listener or whoever is watching you don't wow them, they're probably not going to give you a chance.
Yeah.
And if you have nothing going on, you're just going to sit here and tell me you grew up in Southside Houston, you love rap, you want to be the next Lil Wayne. Okay. And then what? So again, it's not a diss. It's just have something to talk about. Have something to talk about so you can make not just the podcast process isn't easier, but it makes you look good too. Otherwise, you become boring.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that.
I'm glad you did because I would have said it myself. Also, man, I don't know how you feel about this, but I've interviewed people that actually never even promoted the actual interview. Like the interview drops and it's like, I'm going hard promoting it, trying to get people to watch, and then they don't even, you know, they might repost what you tagged them in.
Yeah.
But they don't go out of their way like, hey, man, y'all go check out my interview that I just did with TDM Talk or with JVaz or with whatever. And I'm just like, I don't understand. So why did you want to do the interview? Like, just do it? Like, I don't understand, you know. But
I was running into that a lot. What I've been doing lately is I do ask like, hey, let's collaborate on Instagram. Mm-hmm. You can remove me a week later. You can remove me the next day.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to promote it yourself, just hit accept to collaborate with me so that your viewers or your following can see that we did an interview together. Yeah. And then you can remove the collab post tomorrow. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, yeah, a lot of people, for whatever reason, they want to do the interview, but like you said, they don't. Like, what was the point, bro? Like, what was the point for me to interview you? You know what I mean? Speaking of,
yeah, we could dive deeper, but it's just let's just move on. I'm not trying to be mad today.
We'll move on to something more positive. Let's talk about embracing the culture, man. This is something that you've been doing every year for the last 3 years?
Four. Yeah, this is the fourth one.
4 years. So for the last 4 years, Embrace the Culture is an event here in Houston. You put together, I guess, how we would call them, independent artists to be able to perform, and you put together an event with vendors and stuff like that. Talk to us about Embrace the Culture, how the idea come about, and how's that been going for you?
Man, more and more people are starting to label it a festival than anything, because it's a mix of a pop-up with a concert as well, but there's a lot going on. And so the initial idea was I was invited by Houston's own MC and Johnny Dangerous to their Christmas, the toy drive, right? They said, man, come sell some shirts. I said, cool. So I set up my table, had my shirts out there, and I'm looking around. They had a few vendors, they had some artists come perform, and I was like, oh, this is dope. That kind of gave me the idea of wanting to do it. And then I ended up reaching out to Hotbox Hemp Goods right there on Quitman, and they let me, so shout out to them. They let me have my first Embrace the Culture there. And I didn't even know what to call it, honestly. The name came probably about a month before the event. Somebody sent me a meme, and it said Embrace the Culture, and it had some other kind of message, but the Embrace the Culture just stood out to me, just, the phrase. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to call it this. So I think, who did my flyer? Or Art Manifested, man. Shout out to Art Manifested. He did my flyer, and I said, yeah, put Embrace the Culture. I said, cool. And I didn't think like 1, 2, because if you look at the flyers, none of them say 1, 2, or 3. Well, no, the third one does. I'm sorry. I started to notice a trend because each year they just got bigger.
Yeah.
The second one, we called it the block party because we actually did it outside of my friend Martha's house. She had a big ass front yard, and that's where I met so many people, man. Like that was one of the livest ones. It was hot as fuck too. I had to move it from the summer to the fall because it was.
Yeah.
People were passing out, and
this heat ain't no fucking joke.
Nah, man. It ain't no joke, man. So, but anyway, yeah. And then the third one came about, and shout out to Angie. She's the one that got us the venue because we initially were gonna do it at 45 Creations, and then that didn't happen, so we did it at the Splat, right there on Hempstead, I think, or whatever it's called, and then of course. This year at Spindle Tap, man, that was an amazing event.
Yeah.
But it just grows each year. Each year, it seems like it doubles in size every year, and so I'm grateful for it, man. Like just the love, this year we had people from Cali, we had Alex Soy from Phoenix, Liz Garcia from San Antonio, and just so many people out there, like actual consumers, not 35 rappers waiting for their turn to perform. This is actual people that come buy beer. They're going to come buy from the vendors. They're going to come watch music. Now, a lot of these artists got new fans that they never knew about because these are people that just came to support me or knew about the event and said, man, let me just go check that out because the promotion
see
behind
what it's about.
See what they're talking about. So I'm just grateful for it because it's organic. I always try to preach organic, being just real. I don't know anything else other than to be just me and being real, bro. Like, and I hate to even say that because I always say, man, if you got to say you're real, you really ain't real. Yeah. But I'm just, and I say that to prove a point. Like, people just really fuck with me and the brand itself, like what we stand for. And Embrace the Culture is exactly just embrace your culture, whatever your culture is, And I remember y'all had that big discussion about H-Town culture and which I'm not even gonna get into, and I still get asked about that.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about that interview? I said, look, man, I seen that shit, but look, I'm gonna tell you what I think, but I'm sure you still get things. About that.
I'll make a comment on that, but I'll let you finish.
Yeah, but so that's why I say embrace your culture, because your culture might be different from mine. You didn't grow up in Houston, so we're gonna definitely have different cultures, because
Correct.
Houston Latinos are different breed from just about anywhere else. Even in Texas, even the Mexicans and Latinos in Dallas or San Antonio were different. We were just embedded in that screw culture. We grew up in that shit, bro. Like, so I always say, I feel like that's a part of our culture too. Yes, it was started by black people, the black artists and the black entertainment companies or whatever. I said, but we was right there with, I felt like, man, we was the biggest supporters. And I've heard Bun B and Juicy J, DJ Paul and several others say, man, Mexicans some of the biggest supporters, if not the biggest supporters. So, right now it's just kind of like, we've made other cultures rich. Now it's time to bring that to us. Like, hey, help build our brands now. We're doing the same thing. Like, what makes us different, but that's another.
Yeah. So yes, I'm not from Houston. I've been in around Houston for the last 15 years now. You know what I mean? But my mentality is completely different, because I am a Mexican born in Mexico. Mm-hmm. So before I'm being proud of anything else, I'm proud of being Mexican. You know what I mean? And I will not put anything above that. Like, I'm Mexican and then everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I understand the mentality of Houston people.
Yeah.
So when I made the comment I made the argument. It's not even a comment. It was a whole fucking argument about you guys want to talk about representing our culture, but you're more focused on representing Houston.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to throw out there. Now, for some reason, people assumed I was from Cali. I don't know, because a lot of the comments were, "We're not like y'all," and I was like, "Who's y'all? Who's y'all? It's different out there in Cali." I was like, who even brought up Cali, bro?
Yeah.
Like, I understand Cali is a completely different beast. I've never even been in Cali. So that got taken out of context. Now,
as usual,
I started to get defensive, because I've been in Texas since I was 5. I'm 36. So for the last 31 years, I'm basically from Texas. Yeah. You know what I mean? So then I started seeing comments of, you guys are faking the way y'all talk. You guys are blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, because from somebody that didn't speak a lick of English when I came to the States, I learned my English around black folks. Mm-hmm. So my English is completely different. I speak it different than my brother does, because my brother grew up around Mexicans that spoke English. So our English is different. He sounds different. I sound different. The N-word, I don't use it as much anymore, which is something about the discussion as well. Yeah. But it was an everyday word growing up, because that's the people I grew up around. So it was my nigga this, my nigga that. And it was normal. So whenever the Cali people jumped into the comments section,
that's a never-ending debate.
Yeah. So when they started coming in, and then I believe King Lil G said, I think they're faking their accent over there. I was like, wait a minute. Are you guys acting blind, or are y'all just trying to choose sides? Because y'all claim here in Texas we're faking our accent.
Yeah.
As if King Taliban over there is not a completely different race that wants to act like a cholo.
Exactly.
Shouts out to Capone. Yeah. Nothing against you, Capone, but I had to say it that way just to get my point across.
Exactly.
Because can we connect the two? Can we connect the fact that here in Texas we're raised around black folks, so we talk like them? Just like Capone is not Mexican, but he talks like a cholo, like if he was Mexican, because what? He grew up around Mexicans. So we give him a pass.
Yeah, but we don't get a pass. Yeah.
So I wanted to make the argument amongst us, but once it got like Cali started bashing, I was like, hold on, man. Like, so
y'all taking it to somewhere where it doesn't really need, where it never really was supposed to go to.
Correct. But yeah, that's when that comment was.
We're actually trying to build that bridge, the Cali and and I'm not saying it like, oh, we're just this big conglomerate company or whatever. But along with Chop the Father and those guys, they connected us with the Viva Mezcals. And,
shouts out Viva Mezcal.
Yeah, shout out to Viva Mezcal and Audio P and everybody out there, 86 Inca. They came to embrace the culture. We gave them a stage to perform, and they wowed so many people. Were like, damn, who was that? Like, man, dude from Cali. Like, they came and did their thing, and they killed it. And then I was able to actually his interview drops next week. Just plug, shameless plug. His interview drops next week. But anyway,
I'm gonna beep it.
So next year, I told him, I said, look, the next time those guys go, I'm coming too, because I'm gonna come out there and support. I want to come out there and network. I want to come help build lighter fluid or whatever it is you got. Like I want to, and bring some people, as many people as we can go from Texas. Like, just to kind of start to bridge that gap, because it's always a fucking Texas and Cali thing, and I saw the Florida food page, they were doing the Texas Cali. I don't know why. They're from Florida. Like, I saw the comments like, y'all ain't got nobody in Florida yet, just stirring the pot. Like, y'all ain't got nobody from Florida. But it was just one of those like, damn, man, like we'll just never really shy away from that subject. You know, we're different, but I mean, it ain't too much of a difference. I mean, you set aside the language, the thing, I even say that about when you talked about the English, language, Spanish. Even the Spanish in Texas is different from the Spanish in Mexico.
Correct.
So yeah, it's just.
I mean, and it's our people. It's our people because even though I was born in Mexico, I'm still not Mexican enough for the Mexican that grew up in Mexico, and I'm not American enough for the American that was Mexican that grew up.
I used to, when I growing up, I used to get the, te crees negro,
Yes.
Like, whoa, like, why? Like, because I'm wearing, the baggy pants, I'm wearing the jabos, I got the, whatever. And it's like, nah, I'm not thinking of it like that. That's just the culture. That's just where I grew up.
Everybody around me wears this, so I wear it because I like it.
Growing up in North Side, North Central, we had Hardy Street. Fifth Ward was right across the tracks. I mean, it was black and brown. That's all I saw. That's all I grew up seeing. So everybody dressed this way.
Yeah,
it was no.
We didn't know no different. Yeah. Let's get back into the subject here. Yeah. But so we talked about TDM. We talked about TDM Talk, Embrace the Culture, and props to you for wanting to do everything you can in your power to help the independent artist, to help the independent business owner. And one of the things that you've also done here this year, you did a cipher. You brought together some lyrical artists, some Hispanic lyrical artists. I don't want to say Mexican because I don't know if they're all Mexican, but some Hispanic lyrical artists to put together the cipher. And it was actually pretty fucking dope. Can you talk to us about the cipher and the artists that were on there?
Yeah, man, the cipher was an idea that I've had that I was just like, man, just finding the right people to actually be a part of that was kind of gonna be what the issue was, because the initial idea had a whole set of different guys, but as I got to kind of work my way through the industry, through the underground, and seeing who was who actually. One thing about me is I like to work with people that care about their craft, that actually take consideration into what they write, what they put out, the videos they do, the content they put out, the way they carry themselves. Can they do a show? All those things is a big factor. So shout out to Chop, man, because he pretty much helped. Spearhead that, because I locked in with them last year. Him and AB. Well, AB was supposed to perform that last Embrace of Culture, but he didn't end up making it. But him, Spaceman Apollo. So for those that don't know who was on the cipher, it was DFD Baby Lee, Carlos Slim, Chop the Father, Mike Garza, AB Raps, and who am I missing? Did I say DFD Baby Lee? DFD Baby Lee.
Apollo.
Spaceman Apollo. Yeah, 6.
AB.
Chop the Father, AB, Spaceman, DFD, Slim, Carlos Slim, and Mike Garza.
Mike Garza.
Yeah, I got him. Okay. Sometimes I struggle with that. And like, damn, I know who was on it. I just naming them is sometimes a problem. But shout out to those guys, man, because when I approached them about it, they were down. I said, okay. And I had the crazy part about it, I had already picked out the beat. Shout out to Lazy Boy, man, DJ Lazy Boy, man. He came with a dope track, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna use it for a cipher, bro. He's like, hey, man, you have my blessings. I sent it to everybody. They're like, yo, this is some sick shit, and just connecting those dots. They didn't know who Lazy. Even if they didn't know who Lazy, now they know. Now they're like, oh, shit, I might go buy a beat from him now because that one's dope. I may go see what else he got. and vice versa. Now he's a fan of those guys who was on the track because they came in and you know, I mean, they wrecked on that. Yeah, they killed that thing, bro. They're, you know, we always who had the best verse, and I'm like, look, man, everybody killed that shit, you know. But to me, you know, nah, everybody came with it. I like what Chop said. I think DFD stood out because of the English and Spanish that he did on it, you know, and then he just came so hard. Like he came so hard. Pause. He came so hard with it that you know he kicked it off, you know, and it's fire starter, bro. And it was like, damn, and it just went, you know. And then AB wrapped it up, and the chronological order actually came from Chop. Chop was like, I think it should go like this, and I was like, okay, cool. You know, I was with it, you know. Shout out to No Sleep Productions, man. We were able to record there, and you know he allowed, you know, gave me a good price, you know, and you know because I'm not, you know, trying to get nothing for free. I'm like, yeah, I want to put money in your pocket too, but you know I want to shout them out. They do so much behind the scenes; they don't get a lot of credit for it. And what else? What else about it? And then we shot the video. The video was, it wasn't man, shout out to Trap Visions, man. I know, it's a sticky situation with that, but you know, let's just say we weren't happy with the finished product, you know, and it was, I felt it killed the momentum that we got the video back so late, and I wasn't happy about that because it was so much promo behind it. And we had nothing to show for it. It's like you can only say the video coming soon so many times before people lose interest.
Yeah.
And but you know, I just kind of rebrought it the other day. I reposted it and kind of cut everybody's verses into one slide, and you know, I had everybody, and now it's more people that didn't know about it that's like, oh shit, like I didn't know this was, you know. So I'm just trying to continue to bring light to it because I think it stands out from any other cipher because of how lyrical it is. And I don't want to put them in a box and be, oh, they're lyrical rappers, but that's what it is. I mean, they was dropping some heat, bro, like, and really saying something. It ain't just the you know, like Chop said, you know, everybody coming down, everybody rapping, you know, this and this and that. Y'all done killed the sound. It's like, nah, we really rapping some shit, you know, and so hopefully we win Cypher of the Year for something, man.
Yeah.
You know? Latinx, you hear that? No.
Right. Yeah, no, that was a dope cipher. Again, you being so involved with these artists, what do you feel is lacking in the scene as far as why have we not been able to take one of these artists to the next level? What do you feel is missing?
Man, that's a great question. That's something that I think about constantly, and I think it's just the resources. I think financially we don't have the finances to push like you would someone who does have the backing of you know, like D-Baby or OTs, you know, and nothing to take away from them. They're doing their thing, man, and that's dope. But I think we've gotten so used to a certain style of hip-hop and rap in our culture that anything that's different is kind of like, you know, and I listen to DFD Baby Lee's album, and I'm like, man, this dude got like such a dope ass album, you know, album of the year type shit. Like, if somebody got a better album, send it to me. I'll listen to it gladly. But I think slowly but surely we're coming back to the true essence of hip hop and the lyricism and really making music that says something. And I think that's what's needed. It's needed where all of us come as a collective and weed out the bullshit. You know, there's a lot of bullshit out there, right? And I've always said this: the only way we're gonna win is if we stick together and we continue to uplift and continue to promote. That's why I do go to the show. That's why I do when they sell out the White House. Oh yeah,
the White Oak.
White Oak. Not the White. They ain't allowing us in the White House yet.
Yeah, not yet.
At the White Oak Music Hall, man, and you know I'm there, man. You know I seen. I was just at shout out to Tillo. You know they did. You know, he won them 5 racks, man. You know, he could have shot me a little bit, something. You know, I'm kidding. You know, to see that was dope. You know, like, and then being some of the only Latino artists in the building that night, and for him to have just killed it, like, I love that, man. I just love seeing our people win, and I support it as much as I can, man. Some people get mad if I don't come to their show, and I get that. You know, I just can't be everywhere like that, man. It's hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. And anyways, the short answer is just the financial situation, bro. It's just like we don't have we're really coming out of pocket to do this, and it's just not really resonating yet.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's my opinion on it as well. I just feel there's not enough support in financial support at that. So again, putting you on the spot. In your opinion, who's your personal, give me your personal top 5 favorite artists in Houston right now.
Top 5 favorite artists. Male, female, no matter?
Don't matter.
No matter the genre?
Stick to hip hop. Okay.
Chop, Tillo, Spaceman, Apollo for sure. What's that, 3?
Yeah.
Damn.
Chop, Tillo, Spaceman.
AB
sure.
raps. Damn.
Here's the tricky part.
Yeah, it's always that last one that's like.
This puts the ending to the list, and
I would have to say Mike Garza, man. I think my boy is slept on severely.
Yeah.
Why that is, I'm not entirely too sure, but hearing and seeing the music, it's like, damn, this dude really, but
yeah.
Sometimes, man, it's just you just gotta work, man. You gotta just constantly
stay consistent.
Stay consistent. Yeah.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I'm gonna give people a little sneak peek of what I'm planning on working here, and I want to get your opinion.
Okay.
So I'm starting to work on this segment, but as you can see, my voice is not 100% there, so I haven't been recording a lot. But I'm starting to work on this segment when I want to discuss who the top 5 Latin rap legends in Houston are.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you my 5, and I want to hear your 5. Okay. And then I want to make a discussion about something before we wrap this up.
Okay.
In my 5, I have South Park Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
I have Chingo Bling.
Okay.
And then I'll explain why in here in a little bit. But I have Chingo Bling. I have Grim.
Okay.
I have... Damn, I know I'm looking at the list here, but I don't have the full list. So it was Grim, Chingo Bling, Lucky Luciano.
Okay.
And then number 5, Baby Bash. Now, I got to make this comment about Baby Bash because I keep getting, he's from Cali. I understand he's from Cali.
Yeah.
But he's built his whole rap career out of Houston, out of Texas.
Yeah.
And he's proud to be from Cali. He represents it.
Yeah.
But he's done so much in Houston.
For sure.
That, to me, he's a legend in Houston. Lucky Luciano, arguably very influential.
Yes.
At the time when he was popping, everybody wanted to rap like Lucky, wanted to sound like Lucky. There was people that named themselves Little Luck, Baby Luck, basically jacking the man's name. Chingo Bling, regardless of how you feel about the new Chingo Bling, or he came out with the whole Trump thing, there was a time when we had no representation besides Chingo Bling, and this man was putting us on MTV. He was putting us on BET. He was everywhere. And a lot of people give credit to OT for the boots and all that stuff, and we forget, not we, because I remember, but some people forget that Chingo Bling did this years ago. Nothing against OT. I'm just saying for the people.
Facts.
Then you have Grim. I mean, a lot of people, jump on the list and say SPM and forget about the fact that there was a Mexican before SPM that jumped into the scene that initially opened that door for SPM, which was Grim.
Facts.
And then SPM. I understand why people feel some type of way about SPM. I completely get it. Before I get your opinion on what your top 5 are, I want to ask you this. Even though SPM opened up a lot of doors for us, and I say us because he was very influential in my early life, that if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be as involved as I got into it.
Yeah.
Should he still be considered a rap legend, a Latin rap legend, or should that asterisk next to his name tarnish his legacy?
Man, my morality wants to say, no, But when you I think when you do that, you got to separate the music from the actual person.
The person from the artist, yeah.
You know, you take the R. Kellys and the Michael Jacksons, and you know, again, I don't know if any of them did any of what they were convicted of or accused of or whatever. I wasn't there. You know, I just know what's being said. People have argued it from both sides, but I think when you do make a list or an argument, just stick to the music.
Yeah.
You know, if we're just talking music, then hey, man, he definitely deserves to be in that because I mean, like you said, he was like the biggest thing we've had out here. You know,
yeah.
So obviously, and I mean, to this day, the following is insane. Like there's people waiting for him to get out. You know, and, you know, and it's just like it's crazy, man. Like
his birthday bash is gonna be packed on Thursday.
I already know, man. So it's you know, yeah. So.
Yeah. So give me your top 5 in your opinion.
Man, as you were going down your list, I was, you know, I ain't gonna lie, the Chingo Bling one kind of threw me off, but I meant to ask, was there a criteria or was it just like in general? Because if it's in general, then yeah, because I kind of put him up there, and not even for the music, but for the entrepreneurial spirit that he had, bro. Like the business, you know, the marketing genius that he was, the boots, I was when he was popping, I was working at Soundwaves at the time, and he came in there one day. But he had no cowboy hat, no grill, no shade. And I think he had some shades on, no boots. He had some shorts, some Air Force Ones, a white tee, you know. And somebody told me, you know, his Chingo. I was like, nah, I didn't. You know, I'm because I'm always seen him with the hat and the boots, you know. Like, oh damn! I remember I went and chopped it up with him. Like, hey man, can I help you with something? You know, like, yeah, man. I was looking for the new Sugar Free, and I actually had an advanced copy of it behind that. You know, the labels used to send us the advanced copies.
Yeah.
I said, hey man, you could have it, bro. You know, on the house. He's like, wow, for real. We couldn't sell it anyway because it was a promotional use only. And we had a great conversation about the business, man. You know. And you know, ever since then, I've always been a fan because of the marketing behind it. Because I always thinking that in those terms, even though I wasn't selling clothes yet or I wasn't selling anything, I still always looked up to people like that.
They had a coloring book,
man.
Fucking Christmas ornaments.
This dude had it
bobbleheads.
I mean, and the fact that he's still relevant to this day, doing comedy and whatnot. And my favorite is the Canelo when he impersonates Canelo. That shit is hilarious. So yeah, man, I agree. I don't know if there's anyone I can replace off top. The Baby Bash one, I get it though, because I mean, there's people that think that still that to this day probably still think he's from Houston, that don't even know he's from Cali, because he just was always down here, always repping, always with SPM. You know, I think in my eyes, I think the only one I would probably slide in there, but I don't know who I would take out, man. GT Garza, and I think just the longevity behind that, you know?
Yeah.
The longevity and the consistency.
That's one thing.
Does.
You're right. I would love to have Garza on there.
Yeah.
Because of what you said. He's been doing this shit for so long.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody that's been as consistent as Garza. It's just hard to remove. Yeah. I think Garza will be 6 for me.
Yeah.
And unless we completely remove Baby Bash, if we move Baby Bash,
if we had a criteria where like, oh well, they got to be from Texas or they got to be from Houston. I mean Houston. Then it's like, okay, then you take out Baby Bash and
but then again, that would take out Garza, because Garza originally is from Cali. He was born in Cali.
How long? But
I mean, the argument goes back to the whole Baby Bash. He is from Cali, but he's lived, in Houston for so long. Garza has lived in Houston for his whole life.
Yeah.
So
see, when it's like that, I always say, well, now you're from wherever you lived at the most. Yeah. Like my wife, right? She was born in Mexico as well. But she came here as a baby, at a real young age. Like you're from Houston, girl. Like, yeah, you were born there, but you're
H-Town.
You H-Town.
Yeah. This is definitely a conversation we should have later on.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I just wanted to pick your brain on who your top 5. I was thinking you were going to mention a name, but I'm not even going to bring it up because this is going to make the conversation even longer. We'll talk about it off camera.
Yeah.
But hey, man, this was cool. Appreciate you stopping by, bro.
Yeah.
When and where can people check out TDM Talk?
On our YouTube page, on all streaming platforms, Them Damn Mexicans, just look us up, man. TDM Talk. If you go to Them Damn Mexicans, you'll see our link tree and you'll find everything you need to find there. And then just go check us out, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and keep us going.
Alrighty, make sure you guys check them out on all streaming services. We'll have the link on the description of the podcast, description of the video. So make sure you guys check them out, give them a follow. And once again, appreciate you stopping by, bro. TDM, the damn Mexicans, the boy David. Make sure you guys give him a follow. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Thank you guys for watching. It's your boy JVaz, and you're watching Texas Underground. Let's go.